Rolo, the chocolate treat with caramel inside.
Rolo, Rolo, roll your boat gently in my mouth.
Pop, top, check it out. Lick the foil with your tongue. Give it to your friends
as a gift.
as a gift.
Let's change gears. Rolo, Tony, Brown Town. Check yourself at the door. Give me some more. Give me some more. Give me some more of your Rolos. That's pretty good.
TBTL. Oh, this is my jam right here.
Yeah, most people think I'm on drugs because I'm always happy.
Are you on drugs?
No, I'm not. I'm high on life.
We may have created a monster in the lab.
It's not a monster. It's a cyborg that can kill without remorse.
And there's just nothing wrong with listening ever, so listen if you know what's good for you.
Remember, to achieve success, you must first conceive it and believe in it. Remember, impossible is nothing.
Well, all right. Hello, good morning, and welcome to a Monday edition of TBTL, the show that just might be too beautiful to live.
First of all, I love it.
My name is Luke Burbank. I am your host.
You want to do a make-believe radio show in a room somewhere. I'm telling you, there's no money in that.
Today, we really are doing a make-believe radio show in a room somewhere. That room being my actual parents' actual basement.
Hey, Mom! The meatloaf! We want it now!
Here we are, everyone. Day one of the TBTL-a-Thon. This is the one time of the year where we take a week to remind all of you that this show can only exist because of the donations, the generous donations of you, the tens of listeners. And we've said that many times over the last 8 years during various thons. And I feel like we did mean it, but there was some sort of a backstop in the situation, which was we worked for American Public Media. And so we needed you all to donate. They would probably fire us if we didn't raise any money, but we could maybe, I don't know, we might be able to stall them for a month or two. That backstop, that net underneath the high wire has been removed, my friends. And today, episode 3979 in a collector's series.
Let the fun begin.
Is the first day of the rest of our lives as an independent podcast. And so, we would love it if you can help support us by going to tbtl.net, making a donation. There's a whole list of cool things that we'd love to offer you in exchange for your help.
That cash could really get me out of a couple of jams.
And of course, when we're doing this, this is a week for us to really embrace positivity, love, light, maybe even laughter. I promise you that there is a sign somewhere in this house extolling the virtues of both love, light, and laughter. So I don't want to go negative early, but I am feeling fairly rejected this morning by a community that I hold dear.
Johnny, that really hurt.
So we'll probably talk about that too. And we'll talk about a new version of my good friend Andrew. We call him Jeep Andrew.
Brother, who are you? What are you doing?
Our rental vehicle has brought out a whole new side of my good friend. Speaking of the longest-running Cobra of the program, maybe best known for his depictions of the tall ships.
Hey, Romano.
He's sitting right next to me at this folding table in my parents' basement. He is Andrew Walsh. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning. I can't believe this is working.
I know.
How have we not had some sort of emergency at the very last minute? That always happens. Like something crashes or some unforeseen event happens that maybe I'm just jinxing us. Maybe that'll happen later in the show. But, this is happening.
I want to mention that about 5 minutes before this program, I could say arguably maybe the most important program we've ever done in the history of TBTL. If you think about the financial implications, if you think about everything that's going on. 5 minutes before airtime, we were sitting outside basically sunning ourselves in some Adirondack chairs here in my parents' yard. It has been
playing the immaculate grid of
we're
baseball.
Trying to find something to entertain ourselves with before doing this thing that is, again, probably the most important episode of the show
there it
we've
is.
ever done.
There it happened.
Aha!
My computer just did the thing it's been doing lately, which is it just shut off in
How
the middle of
important
the
are
song.
computers to the operation here?
I don't. Why is this happening anyway? You guys know what
I
the music
do think
sounds
you
like.
did. My parents are people of the Christian faith, and they're, we do have an old saying and tradition in the Christian faith of speaking something into existence.
Yeah.
And you, my friend, just just spoke that into existence.
The worst part, I know that you're thinking, hey, you're doing a really important show right now. It'd be bad if your computer died. The worst part about my computer dying right there is it makes Genevieve right. She has the same computer at home, and she hates it. She hates it. It was her company-issued one. This is one that I bought myself, and I love it. I'm always defending it. So nobody tell Genevieve that this computer just did that at the beginning of the broadcast because it gives her more fuel.
Everybody be cool. By the way, if you'd like to call in, if you'd like to call in right now and tell everyone that Genevieve was right, we are also taking your phone calls at 206-414-TBTL. 206-414-TBTL. One of the other little fun things that we like to do during this special week is talk to you, the tens of listeners. We are streaming this live right now at tbtl.net. We're on YouTube. I'm not saying that for the people who are watching because you already know that that's happening. I'm saying it for the people that are listening to this hours later, that if you missed the broadcast, the live broadcast on Monday, you can still catch the live broadcast on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. We will be here. Again, the phone number 206-414-TBTL. Now, we can't go much further without saying hello to TBTL employee number one, our Vice President of Revenue and Operations.
He's got hair, he's got chutzpah, and broad-based knowledge.
He sure does. He is John Sklaroff.
Hello,
my friend.
Hello, guys.
Hey, John.
How you feeling, buddy?
I'm feeling great. You know, there's a real chance my mom's watching this live stream, and hearing you say that title probably is just like filling her heart up. So,
what's your mom's name?
Karen.
What up, Karen? Sorry about the last couple years.
I hope you're very proud.
You should be very proud of John, and we're going to try to come up with a new term for people who are being troublesome because you, the Karens of the world, do not deserve that.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean?
The nickname Karen.
Yeah,
it's got a bad rap these days. I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like it either. I am. I did something a few minutes ago, y'all, that I feel very regretful around. So my dad, he has his workshop out there for his sign company. Oh, by the way, we're at my parents' house. There is a very real chance that one or both of them will wander down into this basement at some point.
I'm hoping.
And that's why Andrew has rigged up what we're calling the mom mic.
You got to eat that microphone.
This is a microphone that we can hand to whichever one of my parents come down. If you're wondering who it is, if it's my mom, you'll hear this sound effect.
I say, what's up, dog?
If it's Susie B, or if it's Walt B, you'll hear this one.
Who is my daddy, and what does he do?
My dad is in this pitched battle with the local squirrels in a kind of...
It's true. It's macabre almost.
Well, yeah, it's more macabre than I expected. So he does not like these squirrels getting into his shop and chewing on things. That one of them chewed on his door, one of them chewed on some sign he was working on, and he is apparently dispatching the squirrels using violence. I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to trigger anyone. I also don't want people to get the wrong idea about Walt.
Okay. Can I add just one? Can I just add one dazzling detail?
Right.
There's a pellet gun involved.
I believe it's a BB gun.
Well, I asked the follow-up questions, and it's indeed a pellet. It's called a BB gun at first because it sounds cuter.
And also because that's what my mom called it.
I say, what's up,
I don't think
dog?
she knows the difference, so I was going off of her description.
Well, your dad said BB gun too, and I said, but I've had BB guns before, and I said, is it really a pellet gun? Knowing, again, trying not to get too dark here, but knowing the impact that these projectiles had on the rodents, it sounded more like a pellet to me than a BB.
You said rodents, not our friend rodent.
No, not rodent. Every rodent is
safe. Are you turning
safe.
your computer on for the second time?
Well, the first time it did this by itself, then the audio stopped working totally. So I'm doing a restart, but I'm also like I'm chatting. I'm
you're multitasking.
Yeah, but right now, if you're trying to call in and you're like nobody's picking up, it's because we have the issues that I spoke into existence.
So my dad, who is really one of the gentlest souls that I know, and just an absolute sweetheart of a feller, he has unfortunately ended the lives of a few squirrels using a firearm, and I'm going to call it what it is, a firearm. and I didn't like hearing that at all. I said, could you just put out some kind of humane trap or poison them? And he said, no, it's more fun shooting at them, which again is
it's honesty.
It's a fissure in our father-son relationship that we may never recover from. But this is where I become one of Walt's complicit actors. I just, out of habit, I walked up there. I was printing out the show sheet for today's episode, and I was going up to my dad's office where the printer is. And as I was walking in, I noticed a squirrel ran into his shop. And before I could stop myself, I said, "Oh, a squirrel just ran in there."
Oh, you narked a squirrel.
I narked out a squirrel who's probably no longer living.
Did your father just reach for his
He
revolver?
didn't
as
do
the song
anything.
goes?
I think he knew enough to wait until my virginal eyes had left the situation. He didn't do anything in front of me, but like the second that I like I would. You ever say something and you wish you could reach out and grab it and pull it right back into your? No, that's not.
That's just not my lived experience. I've never done that. I've never regretted anything I've ever said or done.
I immediately regretted it, and so I'm off to a little bit of a rough start here on this Monday morning.
Sorry. You know what? I mean, the chance of your father, finding that firearm, bringing it down from wherever it's hidden.
I believe it's sitting on the porch, and it's very unsettling because
really?
it's a pistol.
Oh, it is a pistol?
Well, there's a pistol sitting on the. What's the difference between a pistol and a revolver?
I think a revolver is a specific. Were you going to jump in on that, John?
Are you senior VP of Revenue Operations and Gunsmithing?
I might say something that on this show never happens that makes people upset or because the facts are wrong. But
Okay,
I think a revolver is like you have to pull the
It has
thing
the
back.
little thing that revolves.
Yeah, and it
literally
revolves
revolves,
exactly,
right, yeah.
and it cocks it back, and then it clicks into place like for Russian roulette. Whereas a pistol,
Okay,
you can
well,
do,
good.
like, a
Let's get
clip.
Russian roulette into the conversation
Yeah.
as early as possible on the first day of the rest
has
of our
anybody
life.
seen The Deer Hunter?
Actually, no.
So there is some kind of I don't think it's a real firearm, but there's some kind of like pistol that was sitting there that I suspect is the thing that was being used maybe to dispatch the squirrels. Anyway, I've learned my lesson, and if I see, I'm actually going to let an entire family of squirrels in today just to try to balance out my karma.
Yeah, when you go back home to Portland, you're gonna have to house some squirrels there, maybe a squirrel family.
Absolutely,
pay it back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now the other thing that I'm trying to sort of overcome this morning as we begin this Thon week is the fact that I am apparently not invited to be part of the Stens Facebook page. I have had a pending request since last night.
Wow.
When I asked if I could please be part of the Stens Facebook page so that I could be part of the Club for Eagle Soaring, which is a fun little tradition that we have usually during the Thon where different folks kind of like to check in and talk about ways that they're, getting out and maybe getting a little exercise or doing, as I like to say, whatever their body allows for. And I have just been left on a friggin' red by the Stens Facebook page now. And
who's running that these days?
I couldn't tell you, Andrew, because I don't have access. I mean, talk about the cobbler's children going without shoes. Like, if there's anybody who I think should sort of be a first ballot Stens Facebook member, it might be, the guy who started the show around which this all revolves. But no, I am apparently not invited to be part of the Facebook situation.
It's sort of a safe space. Like that is what one of the benefits of the Facebook page is we are locked out of it, so people can say whatever they want about the show. That's a really good point. So maybe that is part of. Maybe they're protecting you. Maybe they're cleaning house, man. What if they've been talking some S for the past 3 years? Or I guess you were on there 1 year ago for the last Thon. Did you do the Eagle Soaring?
I did. Yes.
Did we do anything that would upset people in the past year that they would maybe talk about on the?
I wonder if I failed the quiz. There's a quiz to join it, or there's a little
what
survey.
Are the questions? Are you a robot?
The survey is, what is your favorite drop?
Oh, what is your favorite drop?
I just put this one down. I thought I'd throw a little hometown love to my mom.
I'll say, what's up, though?
Nice, love it.
And then they said, I think the question is something like, how did you sort of become interested in TBTL? Was it, no, for real.
Yeah.
And it was was it slowly over time, or was there one specific moment? And I don't know why I wrote this. I think it was when Cairo fired us, which it doesn't even really make sense as an answer. And then you have to agree to the sort of terms of service, if you will, which is hey, don't be rude, which I think is I think that's a really reasonable sort of metric or litmus test. And I said, yes, I agree to not be rude. I said I did everything in my power to join the Stens Facebook page, including going on a harrowing jog this morning.
Where did you end up going? Because you told yesterday we
To
were
the
driving
casino.
around.
I did literally jog by a
It is
casino this
funny
morning.
how that always seems to happen. Also, you smell like rubbing alcohol. Is there any reason for that? Actually, it might not be rubbing.
No, it's drinking alcohol.
No, it's all drinking alcohol. You were a little bit concerned.
Yeah.
We're staying at an Airbnb near here, and as we were driving down some roads that don't have any shoulders, it's beautiful, beautiful area around here. But you said, I do not like jogging on roads that don't have shoulders, and I don't know what I'm going to do. What were your options?
They were limited. I jogged along a variety of roads that did not have any set aside kind of safe area for people that were jogging or even riding their bikes. And I realized midway through that it's probably one of my most ingrained, you might call it phobias. The idea that a car is going to hit me while I'm jogging along on the road. It's not something that happens all the time. It's probably not something that there's a very high probability will happen to me, but it lives so large in my mind that this is going to sound like a humble brag, but I did not want to get up as early as I got up this morning.
What time did you get up?
5:30.
Oh.
And the reason I did that was because I wanted to try to jog along these roads when there were fewer cars. And like that
we went to bed. We did not. You, me, and John were kind of like chatting and kind of working on things and doing some show prep and chatting.
And I was trying to sign up for the
drinking a
Facebook
beer
page
or two. Up until I think I went down to my bedroom at midnight last night, and I left you guys still chatting. So that's not much sleep.
It wasn't, but that tells you how afraid of getting hit by a car I am. That it got me out of bed. And I guess it sort of worked. I'm imagining that there would have been more cars if it would have been later on. But the part that really got to me and made me realize that I've got to figure something out for tomorrow is I went up from kind of where we're staying and then along this pretty busy highway. It's not a freeway. You know, legally, you can't be on the side of the freeway in Washington, but it's a highway. It's pretty active. I went past the casino. As I told you all, I did feel a certain, what's the word? Sadness for folks that I saw leaving the casino at 6:30 in the morning, and only because
sadness and recognition.
Exactly. It's the sadness that only a person who's done that many times can really feel. But then I got out on this bridge, and the bridge had a sidewalk on it that it was raised a little bit, but it was about as wide as me. Like not a full-fledged, like kind of wide sidewalk where two people can pass each other. Like it was only wide enough for one person. And I was trying to take some pictures. Again, see previous comments about eagle soaring. As I'm doing these little jogs, I'm also photo documenting it. And I'm taking a picture of the water. And I just feel, I hear a sound behind me. And cars are going by me all the time, but I feel something different happening. And it's a low rumble that's then getting louder as it gets close to me. And what goes past me is a semi-truck that's pulling not one, but two
double
long, giant things. And the wind, and I'm a fairly stout individual. The wind from this truck really physically moved my body.
I believe it.
And the guardrail of the bridge was about up to my hip. And it was about 100 feet down to the water.
I don't like this
and
story.
that was when I decided I got to find a new route for tomorrow. And I did all of this so that I could be part of the Club for Eagle Soaring on the Facebook page. And yet I'm
locked out.
I'm kind of locked out.
We'll see. You know, I know some people in some pretty high places. We'll see if we can get that sorted out. In the meantime, should we take this call? I have somebody on hold
the
here
system
for a
is up and
while.
working.
Yeah, and I'm worried that it's going to, crash again at any minute. So we should probably take the call.
All right,
while we
no,
can.
let's make hay while the sun shines. Oh, okay. I believe we've got a sound effect for this, if I remember right.
So.
Ahoy, hoy.
Hi there. Welcome to TBTL. You are the first caller of, and maybe the last caller of this year's TBTL-a-Thon. Who's this?
Hey, dummies. I've done it again. It's Max from Brooklyn, but I'm calling you this time from Montgomery, Alabama.
Whoa. Are you filming down there?
I'm I am playing Cliff in a production of Cabaret at Alabama Shakespeare Festival.
Hey, amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, no kidding.
Thanks.
Oh, I got another call.
Oh, do we have a call waiting on this?
Can I?
What did that sound like for you, Max?
This is a new function. I'm going to hold and accept this next call.
Okay, we're putting someone on hold. Max, please.
Oh, wait, no, I've accidentally put... Okay. Whoever that is needs to turn off the radio.
No.
Max, you're back. Hi.
Okay, hi. This is Max in Brooklyn on the line from Montgomery, Alabama. How's Montgomery, right? By the way.
It is incredibly hot down here. We had a couple of weeks of nice weather with some crazy thunderstorms in the middle. Now it is pretty brutal out there.
Yeah.
Getting up into the feels like 107 range.
Does that affect your performance in cabaret? I assume the theater is air conditioned, but like, does it do something to a person's soul to just be in that kind of humidity all day, then trying to get into the part of Cliff?
Well, we are currently in tech rehearsals.
Oh, okay. Can you explain I was almost a drama minor at the University of Washington, so I understand that kind of terminology. But for people like John who don't come from the theater background, could you explain what that means?
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So we spend a few weeks working in the rehearsal hall, putting the play together, figuring out where people are going to move, how we're going to deliver the lines.
Blocking,
and
I
sing
think,
songs
is
and all
probably
that.
what
And
you're
then-
talking about.
And then we move into tech, which is when we actually go onto the stage and we have lighting designers and sound designers and costume and wardrobe people all helping us put together all of the design elements to get it ready for an audience.
So they want to kind of see, they want to sort of see what it looks like in movement and kind of in real life, as it were.
Yeah, exactly. And so we just did, the last 2 days were what are called 10 out of 12, which is a 10-hour day over a span of 12 hours. So they're long days inside a theater.
That's also how I've been described by certain blind dates. A 10 out of 12. Have you ever gone?
Can I give you credit for adjusting that joke a little bit? I was giving you was it just last week that I was giving you a pretty hard time on the show for your usual joke there is if I don't make you too self-conscious, that's how my lovemaking skills have been described. But I see that you've taken that and you've adjusted it.
I'm trying to make it more family friendly.
Even though we had a bit of an awkward conversation the other day, you sort of took my feedback to heart, and I appreciate that. You're an artist who's willing to hear feedback.
I'm also trying to keep the show a little cleaner this week because we're raising money, and I think
No more saying cuss words, guys. It's inappropriate and violent.
Okay,
But for
that's
real.
the new standard for this week. Hey, Max, I have a real question though, which is, have you ever, in the middle of a production, like a live production like this, forgotten your lines? And what have you done in that moment?
Absolutely. Actually, last summer I was doing a production of Waiting for Godot, which I was playing the character of Lucky, who has this 7-minute long speech that sounds unintelligible to the audience. But there are specific words that have to cue other people.
Oh, right.
And I went up in the middle of that, and there is no help. So I just started repeating
You just went,
myself.
there he is, and just pointed to where Godot was. They're like, I don't.
Oh, I wish.
Here comes my friend.
Think about how that would have impacted the internal logic of the rest of the play if Godot just shows up.
And for people who don't know, again, people who are not as in tune with theater as I am, Waiting for Godot is a parody of the movie Waiting for Guffman.
Yeah.
And it's kind of adapted for the stage.
Precisely.
Yes.
So what happened?
Yep.
What happened?
Nailed
Max?
it.
Thank you.
I just went into this crazy, like, you go into a state where you go, how do I fix it? How do I fix it?
Yeah.
And just try to, like you guys do, keep the tape rolling, keep the
Keep
the
the needle
dials
moving. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
exactly.
And
so I was just trying to repeat myself just enough to go, okay, where can I jump back into the stream where I can cue everybody else correctly and get back into the rhythm of the thing? But it was both the most terrifying and the most exhilarating moment I think I've had on stage in about 10 years.
And so you were able to get it going again, like your brain sort of kicked in, because obviously that stuff is rhythmic and muscle memory, and it's almost like a song. Once you get a few of the lyrics, it kind of flows, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Can I ask you another question about performing? And this is a serious question I have now that I'm thinking of course, Luke and I are going to be doing the first live TBTL in front of a big audience in a long time. That's coming up on July 29th. You can get tickets at TBTL.net, where you can also watch the live stream, by the way, which I guess it's too late if you aren't already watching it for me to say that. Anyway, it's been a long time since I've done a show like that, but I remember the feeling that I have, like, on the side stage or the green room right before we go out is a need to pee. And the problem is sometimes there's no pee.
Andrew, look at what I wrote down on my show sheet today. What are those words?
It says pee or news.
pee or nervous?
Oh,
Okay,
pee
I'm
or
not.
nervous.
My handwriting is not great. Right before we started today's show, I mean, we've done 3,979 of these. I shouldn't be nervous. I had an overwhelming feeling at like 9:59 a.m. that I needed to, or I guess it was 10:59, that I needed to pee, which is exactly like when I was in Little League and I was on deck. And I could never tell if I needed to pee or if it was nerves. And I think in this case it was nervousness.
Yes, I get that a lot. I get that pretty acutely, especially like I'm pretty chill today because I'm just I'm a little bit of a more cooler character than you. But no, like when I am ready to go on stage, and of course you do this for Livewire all the time, I get a feeling of like really needing to pee, but also I can sort of tell that if I go in there, I'm not going to be able to produce anything. It's just my body doing this. Max, is any of this relatable?
Absolutely relatable, and I've got 2 words for both of you.
Oh, okay.
Beta blockers.
So those work. I've heard about people taking those. Those are like anti-nervousness pills.
I thought it was going to be Dipe
Yeah,
and Purs.
No, they were developed as a blood pressure medication, but they're used off-label for anxiety, and I have used them before auditions, like really high-stakes auditions sometimes.
Did you use some before this call?
Very useful.
Where would you rank
I
calling
didn't.
into
My heart
TBTL?
is racing, you guys. My heart is racing.
It's because of the other pills you're taking.
Yeah, because you're working too much.
And I kind of feel like I need to pee, but I know I don't.
Yeah.
Well, Max, was there anything specific that you wanted to discuss with us? I just bombarded you with a bunch of theater questions.
No, that's all right. I mean, mostly I want to just say congratulations on TBTL Independence Day.
Thank you.
And everybody should donate.
Thank you.
I will be clicking that donate button later today. And also, any Alabama 10s, come out to Montgomery to Alabama Shakespeare Festival. Come check us out. Say hey.
Yeah, absolutely. One last question, Max. Do you need a TBTL lunchbox? Because we have thousands.
Yes, I can see that. I actually do. I have one at home.
Okay.
In
Would
a,
you
in
like
a place of pride?
Yeah, but it's probably lonely.
What if
right?
what if we mailed you one in Montgomery, and if you made a choice for Cliff that he's carrying a lunchbox in some of the seats?
Hey, I wouldn't say no.
Could you do Death of a Salesman and carry this instead of a briefcase?
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. All right. Well, hey, Max, thanks for calling in, and really good luck with the production, man. Break a leg.
Thanks. Good luck with the thong.
Take care. Thank you. You know,
That was a strong opening call, by the way.
That was good.
Honestly, we might want to just quit while we're ahead. That was one of the better calls we've had in a while.
You know, I am still struggling with what to, I mean, I should just say thank you. I mean, that's the easy answer, but I still struggle with what to say when people say congratulations. Like, hey, congratulations on starting your own thing. Because and this is probably a very rude thing to say, but usually I will answer by saying, well, so far all I've done is quit my job. Like, I don't know if that's a congratulations. Like, maybe it's hopefully congratulations at the end of this week when we've made ourselves fungible, if that's the right word.
I don't know if it is, but John used it a lot yesterday. What is your definition of fungible, John, as our VP of Revenue, Operations, and Firearms?
I have that last part makes me feel uncomfortable. As in that role, I say it's fungible is something that we will not take as donations. It's cash only, or credit.
Okay,
but fungible to me means fake.
Oh, okay. I think you're thinking fugazi.
That's a fake, that's
because my understanding
was fugazi.
This is where I classically step in it, because now I'm going to try to explain fungible, and I'm going to do it totally wrong. I think of fungible as being money that is not being directly sent towards something, but because the money that's in other words, if I didn't want to give you $10, John.
Yeah.
So I give Andrew $10, and then he gives the $10 to you. And there's somehow that also is involving fungibility,
laundering, which is also often related to fungible. I think it's just basically it's impermanent. Impermanence, is that the word?
Was it Ken Jennings who tweeted, "Could God make a token so unfungible that even he could not funge it?" Somebody made that joke on Twitter.
I am looking up the
What's the
dictionary
internet say?
definition of fungible, and it doesn't help me too much. It's if it's something is fungible than it is replaceable by another identical item, mutually interchangeable. So I think a non-fungible token, an NFT, is something that can't be funged because it is unique, right? It had like the code imprinted in. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. This is not a good place to take
Don't
the
block
show.
the funge.
Yeah.
On a, it's interesting, Andrew, when you're talking about trying to just learn how to accept, congratulations and compliments and things like that. I was upstairs yesterday. While you guys were working away down here, I decided to take a little break and go hang with my mom upstairs.
That's part of the project, though. I mean, we were in their home.
And I have to say, I was having a really nice time. But my mom had one of her many books that she picks up here and there, and it was a book about like resolving conflicts.
Oh, did you?
And she
pick
said,
up any
"I got
tips?
this." Well, she was like, "This book is blowing my mind." And one of the things I thought was interesting was it appeared that she was about 7 pages into it, so it must have been a pretty useful opening 7 pages. But then she started reading me the things, and they all seemed like bad ideas. But I didn't
remember any.
They were like, so it was about how to. I can probably go get the book. It's upstairs.
Yeah, maybe
at
we
some
can do
point.
that tomorrow.
But it was an interesting thing because she was getting a lot out of it and she was excited about it. So I didn't want to yuck her yum, as we say, or rain on her parade. But the things that she was describing, and I knew the particular conflict that she was thinking of.
Okay.
And the things that this person had said very authoritatively in this book. Again, one of the things that my mom really enjoys is getting a book for free or nearly for free. And she goes, "I got this for like 50 cents. And I was like, don't overpay for books that are about literally the critical disagreement in your life.
The fact, I would say that you could tell that it's not quite working because she screamed at you, "Don't touch my book. I'm getting a lot out of it."
But she just was, again, I mean, I've thought it was overall a net positive for her because she was feeling like she was getting some help and some guidance. So that's a good thing. But I was thinking about, I know the situation that she was thinking of, and I was thinking, none of this is going to work. Nothing that's being described. Oh, and part of it, sorry, the reason I thought it was because one of the things was, it was like, learn how to take a compliment. That was like one of them, which I thought, well, if the person you're fighting with is complimenting you, things are going okay at that point.
You've read chapters 1 through 4.
Right, and now they're complimenting you on how good you are at reading.
Do you know, I can say that I have, and I don't know if this is rare or not, but I have literally never read any kind of a book that you would describe as a self-help book, or even like a kind of a business-related improvement book. You know, like
what color is your parachute?
Exactly. I mean, have you ever sat down to read a book to say like, this will make me better at X, Y, or Z, whether it's personal or professional?
No, and I really I sort of regret that about myself. Like I mean, being totally serious, like I am a person who generally thinks that there is really little anyone else has to offer to me about like how to live my life better. And my life is a disaster most of the time. If there's anybody who should be availing themselves of those things, it's me. And I'm somehow constitutionally inclined to not seek out that kind of advice or wise counsel. And I wish I was.
Yeah, for me, reading has always been a part of like, it's a pleasure activity for me. It's more of like a hobby. It's a downtime thing. The idea of sitting down and, here we are, we're starting our own business. I don't know if you know this, but there's a lot I don't know about business.
Like what fungible means.
Like what fungible means and whether or not I'm paying taxes on, on anything I earned this year. That's another question.
Well,
we got to
that's
ask our gun expert over here later.
That means we've got income.
But like, it just seems so laborious and uninteresting to read any kind of a book, whether it's self-improvement or John, you seem like somebody who would read.
Did you read a variety of business books before coming onto this new position?
For my performance review, absolutely.
Yes.
For real life, no. I definitely been assigned excerpts and stuff over the years by various bosses that have recommended like, oh, you should read this thing by so and so.
Did you take that as like an act of kindness or a professional mentorship, or do you take that as like kind of passive aggressive?
Depends who was saying it. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
It could be real. Either way.
Yeah.
I remember my boss, Mike Arnold. I'm gonna use his whole name here.
Probably, I'd put Mike Arnold in the top 20 most name-checked people on
probably.
TBTL.
He was a pretty big influence on me, honestly.
Absolutely.
He led me towards a a pattern of thought about radio that led me to listening to TBTL in its
And then
earliest days.
look
because
where
you were
look where it has all ended up, in my parents' basement, surrounded by lunch boxes that nobody wants.
Thanks, Mike. And by the way, if you're watching the live stream and you're seeing all these lunch boxes around us, this is like what, the tip of the iceberg?
There's more.
There's
more.
Is this even half?
I think
this is the tip of the lunchberg.
This is the tip of the lunchberg.
Like,
Ooh, there's a show title.
Like we have. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, Andrew, but just on the subject of all of this swag, there are so many boxes still out in my parents' yard on those pallets. By the way, they're full-on pallets.
Oh, they are pallets. They're not
Susie,
skids. All right,
it's a Christmas miracle. Susie got her pallets. Somebody was asking me on Instagram about that because when asked my mom if we could have all this merch dropped off that we never gave away when we were at APM, my mom's question was, can I keep the pallet?
Yes, and then I was scared that there were skids, not pallets, which is like half the wood. Anyway, now I realize my story isn't going anywhere, but the only kind of thing I can think of where a boss told an employee to read something, well, maybe there were times with me and I ignored it, but I remember my boss, Mike Arnold, gave my friend Ben, who also worked at the radio station, a book on emotional intelligence.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I think that's maybe where I first, this is like early 2000s, and maybe that's when I first was introduced to the idea of emotional intelligence, but I was like, wow, that's that's something that, because that is a professional thing, but it's also a very personal thing, too.
Right, totally. I feel like people, I think, tend to fall into one of two categories. Either they're the kind of person who is often reading books about emotional intelligence and talking about like what their Myers-Briggs score is and things like that. By the way, Addie works for a design firm, and they did the rebranding for Myers-Briggs, which is like, how does
switch
that
around the letters?
Yeah, they decided to call it
Myers now.
Byers-Miggs. You know what? Byers-Miggs is just a stronger name. It cuts glass. But like, I feel like there are the kind of folks who just are given to that kind of introspection and trying to figure out like what is my soul's purpose in life and how are ways that I can relate better to different people, and even when you're having a conversation with them, they'll be like, I'm an ENT something or other. And then there's the rest of us who are maybe a little less inclined towards that stuff. Although I will say that I do respect somebody being on a journey to try to know themselves and to try to like relate better to other people.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely like, when I say that I've never read those books, I'm not bragging on it. It's just I just don't have the I don't have the constitution to read that kind of stuff. For me, like, reading, if it's not fun, it's work.
But you know what, Andrew? You know who would never do any sort of emotional introspection? Jeep Andrew.
Just so you know, we do have somebody who's been on hold for about 8 minutes.
That's fine. They're enjoying this.
Just enjoy it.
They need to hear about Jeep Andrew.
They really do, okay? So yesterday I flew up from Portland and John flew in from Minnesota, and we connected up at SeaTac Airport. And I was telling John on the rental shuttle that one of my greatest joys in life is because I am an Avis wizard, getting on the Avis app and constantly trying to upgrade without paying any more money the rental car that I have been assigned. And then John, I think you said something like, boy, it's gambling. That really fits in with your personality.
Yeah, which is considering your morning jog, I think Andrew and I need to have a conversation about your access to the TBTL bank accounts, Luke. But
right.
But that's
because my jog took me right past the casino?
Yeah, I mean that aside, but
I went past the casino though, in his defense.
I did.
That's true.
And then into and then around.
I went through the casino.
But then back out the other side.
Yes.
Because what happens is, because again, we're a small business now and we're now paying our own freight. I rented the cheapest car that Avis would rent me. Now, if this was a CBS shoot, totally different sitch. But I rented something pretty cheap, and it's also 4th of July week, so it's like, prices were pretty inflated. And then, though, what happens is, so I have this whole thing on the app where it goes basically like, here's your car. I don't know, we had some sort of Hyundai type product. And then it goes, you have a button that says change vehicle. And you can hit change vehicle. And then it goes like, that operation at SeaTac is so big, that Avis operation. Cars are just constantly being returned. They're being like vacuumed out or whatever. And they're constantly rotating in and out of the available supply. And so because the rental car shuttle at SeaTac is a living nightmare, I like to spend my time just hitting change vehicle and then seeing what comes up. And then I will incrementally work my way up. So what happens
is
slots,
sort of.
It's slots so fun, my friend, which is an actual casino in Las Vegas. I can't take credit for that. By the old Circus. But this is it's a whole process, by the way. And this is a pro tip for any of you who are out there trying to fund your rental car. So what I do is I'll go change vehicle, and then it'll show me a car that's one tier above the car that I've paid for, but it's not a car I want.
That's the thing. Often I feel like when you upgrade and you obviously, who am I talking to here?
Yeah,
but
thank you.
In my extremely limited experience in rental car things, the cars that are upgrades are cars that I personally don't want because I don't
like
want
a banana
bigger,
yellow Camaro.
Right, exactly, or some sort of bigger SUV or something.
Totally. So, but this is why, this is why it's a whole process, because what I'm doing is I'm escalating the value of the vehicle that I now have for the future trade. So I change vehicle and I get into another tier of vehicle that I don't want that one, but I accept it. And then as soon as it spits out here's where your parking spot is, I go change vehicle and then see what else now is in that next class of vehicle. Maybe I wait 5 minutes, depends on how long the shuttle is taking. Well, I mean, I think I really hit it out of the park yesterday because we managed to go from some sort of Hyundai product up to a friggin' 2023 Jeep Wrangler Willie.
Willie?
That was a much better. We already have a Willie impression on the show, and it's you being Alf. And then I went with a weird.
What were you doing?
I don't know. But
Willie. Am I getting further? I'll keep practicing.
Andrew, you have fallen in love with, I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but would it be an overstatement to say you're leaving Genevieve and the life you've known so that you can drive the country in this hardtop convertible Jeep Willie?
I got to be careful because I keep falling in love with rental cars that you rent me. Remember the last rental car that I rented was a Mirage, which literally was a Mirage. It looked like a car, but in the light, it's sort of like you look at a certain way, it disappeared. And I decided to drive that through the mountains to Denver. That didn't work out so well. So, 1 year ago, you and I drove to the Denver airport on a holiday weekend. I believe that was Memorial Day weekend, possibly. And finagled, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
Lied is probably what the courts will call it when it goes to trial.
To rent a better car to get me back home to Seattle, and we got a Kia. Was it a Soul or something else? It was a Kia something man. And I loved that Kia, and I came home and I told Genevieve was really mad for some reason. I don't know why. She was going around telling our friends that she was mad at me because I wanted to get a Kia now. She's like, we're not getting a Kia. I'm like, I like Kia. I don't know why. Genevieve's anti-Kia. I'm not sure what's up with that. It was a great car. And now you've rented this Jeep Willie, and you've been letting me drive it, and it is a blast. I love this thing. The tires are real tires.
You pulled a move this morning that was honestly one of the more bitchin' things I've ever seen you do during our many years of friendship and working together, which was
when I gave you a big hug in the morning and gave you a compliment?
It was, and you tousled my hair.
I said,
and you were like, wake up, sleepyhead. It was when we were trying to get onto this main, by the way, the same pretty busy highway I was jogging along earlier.
God, can you imagine jogging and somebody like me is tearing out into traffic?
But you, basically, we are trying to merge or trying to do a left turn onto this very busy roadway. And there was the briefest of windows. And then it was going to be like another 20 minutes of all this kind of cross traffic. And I forgot what you said. You were like, hold on to your butts.
I don't think I said that. That's not
probably
something I would
No,
say.
but you said something like...
Buckle up?
No, it was like something that I feel like...
was it cowabunga?
I feel like it's something Kurt Russell might have said in Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, okay.
You were like, this is going to take Cracker Jack timing. You punched it, dude. You friggin' punched it. And I was pinned to the back of the seat. And you just
You're
tore.
feeling the G's.
You tore out into traffic. And it was
safely. I knew I was familiar with the vehicle at this point. I knew that I had the pickup. I couldn't have pulled that in the old Scion. I loved the Scion. No disrespect to my Scion. I missed that car. I parked next to a Scion exactly like my old Scion the other day, and I had some real feelings, Luke. But
I believe
this
that
was not a move that the Scion could have done.
And again, it was not unsafe at all. But it was edgy, and I liked it. What was it like in the back seat, John?
I think the phrase was "I'm going for it" or something like that.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, a little more pedestrian.
But no, but
I like this is going to take Cracker Jack timing, though. Let's just go with that for the record.
Sorry, from the back seat, I heard something about Cracker Jacks,
Okay.
Then I just like Luke fell into my seat, and we just safely
but
merged
again,
into
it was
traffic.
I really you really got the cobwebs out.
Was it
No, it was great. Andrew, honestly. It was awesome, and I
felt a stirring.
It's something inside me changed fundamentally, and will never
fundamentally.
Fundamental change. I like that as a possible show
I
title.
like. I think maybe let the funge begin.
Oh,
could be
yes.
I've already written it in my document.
Okay.
Try getting me off of
do
that
we still
one.
have a phone caller?
Yeah,
waiting?
we have a caller waiting for us.
All right, and then after this, we have to actually do what we're calling the pitch, which is where we're reminding people what they can get for the thon. Anyway, here's the
Ahoy, ahoy.
official sound effect. Hi, welcome to the TBTL-a-Thon. Your caller number 2.
Hello, are you still on the line? I'm going to say that maybe somebody got sick of waiting 16
Wait, but the
minutes.
little number was still.
I don't know. They were gone.
That's you know what? That's actually great because I want to play this sound effect.
Hello and welcome to Top Story.
And remind everyone that our top story, of course, today is the fact that this is day 1 of the TBTL-a-Thon, and we do have some, we think, pretty cool thank yous for folks who have been donating. And by the way, I mean, this is day 1, but the website has been live since Friday. And John, some pretty incredible stuff has already been happening unprompted by us, basically.
Yeah, no, it's proof of concept that the people that listen to this show are the best humans in the world. We've definitely, I think on Friday, we're talking about Barry snuck on early and donated.
Broadcast Barry.
And then our friend Lauren down in Florida, Jacksonville, right, who has been on the Facebook page, challenging other people to donate and stuff. And so there's this real excitement and some money's trickling in.
I thought that trickling. Wait, that's not the word I was hoping to hear.
Flooding.
Well, yeah,
like flash flooding in, like dangerous levels of money.
John is good at his job. If John says that money is flooding in, there's less of a reason.
Yes,
that's
for
a good
folks
point.
to
Okay.
Keep it modest.
Okay. Now, listener Lauren. Again, if I had access to the Facebook page, I could see this for myself, but I don't currently. Listener Lauren is doing something amazing, like you said, John, which is not only donating, which is incredibly sweet, but then also matching donations and such. And I thought Lauren's greatest contribution to the show would be when she called in to explain how they measure the length of the toilet paper at the facility that she worked at in Florida. Do you remember that call, Andrew?
Oh, yeah. Lauren is great at talking on the radio. I get a little threatened by Lauren's stories sometimes. Yeah. Because at the time, she was working for a supply store of some sort, right?
And
like
they had to sometimes measure,
supply.
like they had to double check that it was like that I can't remember if it was like the paper towels or the toilet paper. It might have been the toilet paper.
I think it was.
If one of these rolled up paper products, which were like industrial size, if they were really as long as the company that was selling them said, so they'd take one out, like a sample, and roll it on out.
That sounds like so much fun. Now, you wanted to give a caveat, though, right?
Not no pressure for Lauren because she put that challenge out a couple of days ago. I'm not saying that's still an active thing. So
it's legally binding.
I just want to put her on the spot.
Yeah, we're not putting her on the hook.
Legally
for
binding.
Sorry, yeah, but it's just really encouraging and awesome to see folks, the community, really coalesce and support the show together.
And we've got some cool thank yous for people. Like I don't have all of the numbers right in front of me, but I do know that we have. I think it's at $25 a month. Anybody who's able to do that or go north of that. We've got the commemorative TBTL coin. And now, John, because you kind of were instrumental in getting these things created, you also have some coins that I think the coin makers sent you.
Yeah, there's
as some kind of comparisons.
Yeah, some samples. They're a little ASMR, right? Oh, nice. Here, that's the coins clanking.
But like, can you?
Oh, sorry.
Andrew, do you have the special coin that we're both obsessed with?
I got one here that features Todd Stout, founder and president of the Partnership Trust of the First Watch. I don't know what First Watch is. It doesn't matter. But we have a picture of Todd Stout, founder and president here. I wish we could have gotten a bunch of Todd Stout coins.
I honestly think I love where we ended up, and thanks to listener Eric for helping us design the TBTL commemorative coin. But if it would have been the Todd Stout coin, I mean, there's an argument to be made that it would have been maybe even more popular. But anyway, the thing about these coins is that they have absolutely no financial value. You will never be able to trade them or sell them for anything of any worth except for cred. They really are non-fungible and non-functional.
These are fungible.
No, I thought fungible means you can exchange it for goods or service, and these would be
but
a non-fungible token.
Non-fungible lives on the blockchain.
Okay, let's call them not fungible.
Not fungible.
Agreed.
I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm sorry.
I don't know. Yeah. But the point is, these coins are not ever going to be worth thousands of dollars. But what they will be worth is years from now, when you're at some TBTL event and we've managed to grow the audience, and we're like maybe even doing the show from the upstairs of my parents' house.
Oh, do you
if
think
we've
that'll
come
happen?
out of the
Dare to
basement,
dream.
and you'll just be like hanging out, and somebody will be like, well, how long you been listening to TBTL, or what's your association with the show? And you'll pull this coin out, and you'll say, I saved TBTL. The only people who have this coin are the people that donated during this first TBTL-a-Thon of the next phase of the show, where if we don't raise enough money by the end of the week, we literally all have to go get different jobs. I'm being serious.
That's a very true story. And I want to say specifically, too, like when we talked about a commemorative coin, this is like kind of a silly thing because, again, this might be something that you want to just kind of display somewhere or hide in your secret safe. But like this entire show, I have been treating this coin, it's like a substantial
like a
metal
fidget.
coin, and it's like a fidget. I've been worrying it, as my grandma. I've been worrying Todd Stout's face this whole time, and it's very satisfying.
Yikes! Yeah, I know that's actually.
So we're doing that, and I think that's like with the $15 level.
That's actually the coin is 10.
Oh,
coin
okay.
is at the $10
Look
level.
at that.
Yeah.
Today only, the coin is at the $10 a month level.
We're having a fire sale.
Am I being brave for the fire? The other thing too, though, is the week in review, right? Which is this new video component that we're going to roll out. What level is that at, John?
That is 25.
Okay, so you'll get the coin. You'll get all the stuff at 25, including week in review access, which is a kind of a recap video that we're going to make each week. It'll probably be a rotating cast that will be a reflection on and a response to whatever has gone on the show that week. So we're still going to do the Hey Dummies video, and I would be shocked if you're hearing this right now and you're not subscribed to the new TBTL newsletter, but if you haven't done that, go to tbtl.net as well. Yeah, it's going to be this, we think, really fun, interesting show featuring us and friends of the program going over like what happened this week on TBTL. On video, you can see our faces.
I like the idea, though, that sometimes it might not be us. Like, I sort of feel like sometimes it might just be you and me cutting it up and talking if we can't book a guest that week. But sometimes it just might be you and one other person, or you and John, and then eventually kind of like bring on friends of the show. I like
Maybe my mom.
I'll say, what's up, though?
How amazing would that be?
dream.
Because I know she would not listen to any of the programs, but that wouldn't stop her. That would not stop her from responding.
That would be very. But I foresee a day where it could be like a couple of listeners, just like we give them the keys to the castle. I don't know. Like, we haven't started doing this yet. I think it's going to evolve over time. This is not something that this is something brand new that we're trying, and we're going to see how it goes. And I think we're going to start it maybe in August. But also, to be clear, every other piece of TBTL content that you enjoy now is still available to you. This is just something special for those of you who can be as generous as to donate at the $25 a month level.
And lots of people, I mean, not a flood, but something maybe hopefully a little north of a trickle. Lots of folks have been, upping their donation a little bit. We've been hearing from them, and it's just very heartwarming. And again, people are writing such nice notes. The thing about this time of year for us is it's both terrifying because it's like we have to sing for our supper once a year, and so humbling because of the very, very nice things that people are saying, and also people who are donating we've got this $100 a month level, which we've never tried before, but we're just hoping that if it's something that works in folks' finances, that's something they might want to do. For that, you get the whole schmear. You get everything and a ticket to the 4,000th episode, and you can hang out in the green room with us. If you've already bought a ticket to that, we'll just refund your money for that ticket. So don't stress about that.
Don't get rid of your current ticket.
But yeah, I'm Andrew. You have been, maybe it's just Jeep Andrew, but you, and actually, John, I'll throw you in on this.
Okay.
Both of you, I think, I don't want to say uncharacteristically, but both of you have been really positive and confident about the idea that we can actually raise enough money this week to make this the full-time job of 3 people. And I'm glad you guys are being strong for me, because maybe it's being in my parents' basement. I've got a little apprehension around the whole thing, but you both seem like pretty confident.
I'm not confident in this phone line. The person who is on hold for 16 minutes says that they're on hold again, and they're getting a fuzzy signal from us. I don't know what that's all about. Signal. I don't know. Should we try to take the?
Yeah, let's
just try to take it anyway. Sorry about the no hoy hoy. Hey, who's on the line here?
Hold on.
Okay,
So
hold on. We're gonna do this. We have
Ahoy, hoy.
Hey, can you hear me? Okay.
Hello, you're on TBTL. Oh, I've always wanted to say this. Can you turn your radio down?
Please turn your radio down. Please turn off the stream. All right. Do we have okay, well, I just think we can all agree that this part of the show has gone really well so far today.
Did you get any? Did you get? I've actually listen. We had a really nice call from Max. I'm sure we'll figure it out with whoever this person that keeps trying to call in. I will say this: if you call in and you're put on hold, you should be able to hear what we're doing. Maybe this person was having some audio issues.
This person said it was fine for a while, then it went fuzzy right before. I'm getting text messages from them. Anyway, let's try somebody else maybe, and we can figure out on the fly whether or not it's on our end or that person's end. So anyway, but I would like more caller. 206-414-8285.
If you would like to have a lunchbox, you'll move to the top of the line. That's really the main thing we're trying to do here. Raise money for TBTL and get rid of some of these lunchboxes. Did they misorder the lunchbox? Did they order? I mean, did someone add a 0, or did we just end up with a lot of leftover lunchboxes, John?
Well, so not to pass the blame, but this was before my time at APM. But I will say
honestly, torch the place.
No.
Who friggin' cares?
No, nothing. Because we got some APM employees still who are listening. I know are definitely fans of the show. Right?
Are they donating?
I don't know, Annie and Joshua.
Annie, Joshua. We are no longer colleagues. We are relying on you.
Give us money.
Relying on the rest of the tent.
But the legend is that something to do with ordering minimums and stuff to get the customer, something or other.
Well, I'll tell you who's impressed with these things. My actual parents. My mom is
I say, what's up, though?
I gave her 2 lunchboxes, and it was like I gave her, a new Maserati or something. She is absolutely delighted by these. So I'm going to call that a win. What do you think, Andrew?
Let's try this.
Try this again?
I keep on getting calls that people are hanging up on, so I don't know if that means that they are getting some.
Ahoy, hoy.
Hi there. You're on TBTL. Can you hear us?
Oh, they just hung up. We might be having some issues with this part of the show. I don't know exactly why. Should I restart my computer again?
Why not? Third time's a charm. Do you think? Did you get a sense of why the computer is shutting on and off?
No, this started happening maybe midweek last week, and I was like, well, that's just sort of a glitch, and
but this is not. But I want to.
It's pretty important.
I want to clarify. This is not the computer you bought through a crack in the door on Aurora.
No. This is my computer. This is my favorite computer. I've had this. I bought this as a new computer about 2 or 3 years ago. It's this is my main computer. This has all of my audio on it. This is not this is. I don't know if you have a special computer in your life, Luke, but this is my special computer, and I'm a little. Defensive about it, not to you, but to people like Genevieve and other haters. I like to speak to the haters. That's kind of something I like to do.
Yeah,
but
totally.
I don't know why it was just shutting down. It is a bad thing for a live broadcast medium. It is bad when one of the computers.
I'm sorry, I didn't see you there. I was too busy blocking out the haters.
That is the main source of communication with our audience just shuts down randomly. I could see that being problematic.
I think we'll get through. Again, we have had rougher first episodes of the Thon week just based on all the technical stuff.
Sure.
So I think this is going to be an amazing week. What folks cannot see, if you're watching this on YouTube or whatever, is that just out of the frame is my mom's beloved karaoke machine, which I promise you we are not going to get through this week without breaking that bad boy out.
Yeah, we have to use that at some point. It's different than everything in this basement has sort of a vintage and kind of a down home feel. I mean, I'm literally looking at a wooden rocking horse across the room there. We have a little kind of a wicker basket. We have an old school lamp. It has basement charm. You know that I love basements. I'm kind of a basement guy, and this has the feel of kind of a well-lived, well-loved home's basement.
I would say that if nothing describes my parents' kind of a decor more than eclectic.
Yeah, I would say it's eclectic, but then you have that the microphone machine over there, which again is off camera. We'll bring it in, but it looks like something out of Mystery Science Theater 3000. Yes. It seems like one of the robots that didn't make the cut.
It's a really good description. But what was my mom saying yesterday when we showed up? And I was like, "Oh, Mom, the karaoke machine." I think she was saying to you something like, I just don't like to have to read the words.
Oh, that's right.
And I thought, well, that's a big part of karaoke.
Yeah, because I said I heard you're a big you and Luke are both big karaoke people, but I guess she only likes to do the songs where she knows all of the words, without having to read along.
Which is primarily the song "Stand by Your Man" by Tammy Wynette, which I believe she became aware of off of the soundtrack of Sleepless in Seattle.
Oh.
And I think that she thinks that she is living in a Tammy Wynette-esque universe with my father. And I had to explain to her yesterday that I think the things that were happening for Tammy Wynette in her relationship with George Jones were much more troubling than Walt falling asleep while they're watching pirated BBC content. I don't know if
That's not what that song is about? Wait, hold on.
That's not what was going on in Tammy Wynette's life.
Yeah.
Another thing that I just wanted to check in with both of you on was your review of a quintessentially Northwest dining experience that you both got to enjoy yesterday for the first time. I mean, the idea that I got to share your first time for both of you at a Red Robin is just amazing to me.
Especially since I've lived out here for a while.
Yes, I'm surprised that you and Vives didn't at some point, like, find yourself hungry and at the mall or something and like stroll into a Red Robin. John, you live in the Midwest where I guess they don't have them, but like we got into town yesterday. My parents were still at church. We were all a bit hungry, and so we rolled into the Red Robin in Silverdale. And the very first thing I did when we sat down was, almost before the waitress could even ask us, what we wanted to drink, I just said, cheese sticks, because that's one of my very favorite things to get at Red Robin.
You said cheese sticks for those who...
I ran that together. Excuse me.
It sounded like chase sticks or something. I don't know, but also... so you said cheese sticks, which I see. Can I just set this up in a way?
Yes,
like,
please.
The other day, Vives and I, it was like actually a year ago, but don't worry about it. A year ago when we were moving into our new place, we were working late into the night on some home projects. And then we were in our new neighborhood, but we weren't staying there for the night. But we were it's just like that moving feeling of being really tired at the end of a long day, feeling good about it, but then also just being kind of famished. And we tried going to one restaurant, the 25th Street Bar and Grill, 125th Street Bar and Grill, but they were closing early because they didn't have enough business. And so we're like, I don't know, let's just keep driving north. So then we drove to a place called Sherry's. Now, Sherry's is another like kind of chain restaurant that like in Ohio, it would be sort of like a Friendly's, I think, or something like that, or maybe even a Bob's Big Boy or a Bob
Perkins.
Evans or a Perkins or something. And so like, when I think of Red Robin, I'm just like, yeah, it's like Red Robin. It's like Sherry's. It's like Friendly's. I don't know.
Please.
And I think that...
do those places have unlimited bottomless steak fries,
thing.
Andrew?
You would always talk about Red Robin as something very special, and I never quite got it. And I think I'm starting to understand a little bit more that Red Robin isn't just another Friendly's or a Bob Evans or what have you. It's a culture.
And it's very specific to the Northwest. This is where it was started, I believe. And it's like if you grew up here, you went there a lot. And there's all these little kind of quirks. Like when we walked in, I was trying to explain that when I was growing up, the decor of most Red Robins was too many pictures.
Yeah,
you've heard of too much tuna? That's too much tuna. This is too many pictures. Like every wall, every square inch of every wall was covered with thousands of different framed, different sized like posters, and sometimes it'd be like a World War II plane, but like the bird from Red Robin is flying it. I believe the bird's name is Red. Like, anyways, very kitschy. But the big thing was the cheese sticks and also the bottomless steak fries. Well, right after I said cheese sticks, and by the way, that I said cheese sticks because
No more saying cuss words, guys.
the very nice server said, I just have to let you know we have different cheese sticks now. And I was pretty much rocked by that news. Because and I spent probably the rest of the meal talking about it. I'm sure it never got boring at all for me going, I just don't understand it. I just don't get, why would you, it's one of their most popular. And then when she came back, I was like, were they popular? And she was like, yes, they were.
She was very sympathetic to your cause. Like that could have been one of those things where we're engaging the server at a level that maybe they're not willing to engage at, which is fair, right? Like,
maybe they don't want to match our energy.
Exactly. Outrage over changing a cheese stick like that. You could be like, dude, I don't know. I just work here. You could sort of get that attitude. But this server was really tuned in. Like she, as they say, really took to the culture. And so she was like, I know they had the special crunch to them. And I'm looking at the cheese sticks on the menu and they're like cheese twists now. And I do eat mozzarella sticks. They looked good to me. I'm just like, hey, let's just bring these babies out, dip them in some marinara and see what we got cooking.
I just wish they would have brought us more different kinds of sauces.
Oh my God. It was a sauce bonanza.
It was a sauce fest. It was like
Welcome
somebody,
to the Sauce
somebody
Fest.
invited Sauce Gardner and someone else invited Saucedo from the Mariners. It was that server must have brought out, I don't know, 12 different kinds of things that for us to dip the fries and the cheese sticks in. Let me just ask you this, and this is overall, between the cheese sticks, the burgers that y'all got, the whole thing, the service, the too many pictures. Be honest with me. What was your sense of the place after hearing me talk about it, particularly you, Andrew, for like so long? Two noobs, and by the way, we're seeing on the text line that they do have Red Robin in Indiana.
Oh, nice.
I would prepare yourself though. They may be working with cheese twists, which is they're fine, but they're not the same. Is my point. What is y'all's review of Red Robin after all the hype?
Can I jump in here, John?
Yeah,
Only
please,
because
please,
again, you've been
please.
talking about this for so long, Luke, and I just never quite got it. And I got to say,
now, are you answering as yourself or Jeep Andrew?
Jeep Andrew is this Andrew. This Andrew is Jeep
Oh,
Andrew.
that's
They're
fair.
one and the same.
They're
Yeah.
unfungible in every way.
I think I get it now. I understand,
Oh, wow.
especially
You don't have to say that for me. I'm not fishing for that.
First of all, okay, a couple of things. First of all, you kind of talking about how there was like the second we walked in, I don't even know that your second foot had actually made it past the entryway before you're like, wait till you see all the too many pictures on the wall. And then you come in and immediately you're just like, there aren't enough pictures. There's just enough pictures.
Yeah, they've gone with a new kind of like decor.
And like to me, I'm just like, yeah, okay. I mean, I don't know. There's some pictures, but I think if it had that kind of a culture, almost like when I was a kid going into a TGI Friday had a very specific vibe. You know, like crap all over the walls, signs that say Dallas parking only for some reason. You're like, I'm in Westlake, Ohio, or Dallas Cowboys parking only, or whatever. You know what I mean? They had all that bric-a-brac. So I understand that maybe that is the past of Red Robin, that it's not just like kind of I'm going to say the word anodyne again because you were impressed with me the other day when I used it. And I think maybe we just got to give up on phone calls. People are calling and hanging up, which makes me think we're feeding them bad sound. But anyway, I think that I get it now. And I will say this, the server asked me when I ordered a burger, and I got the royal. I got a royal burger, I think. No cheese,
fried egg on
please.
top of it.
Yes, exactly. Here's the deal. She said, okay, is well done okay?
Yeah,
and I was
odd.
like,
that was odd.
Oh, no, is that your baseline well done? And I'm not somebody who's like snobby about meat. Like, if you like your food well done, get your food well done. Like, I don't think there's some right way to enjoy food. But for me, well done is not okay. And so I said, well, can I get it medium rare, which is how I usually get my burgers. That's several steps down from that. And she's like, yeah, no problem. But then it was in my head. I'm like, this burger, if they think that well done is okay, like this is going to be
like, first of all, first they have the right amount of pictures. Now they want to cook my burger well done.
Luke, great dang burger.
Oh, nice.
Not only was the burger cooked specifically as I asked, I can't explain this, but like the flavors were separated out enough. In other words, like it wasn't just a mushy, gross burger. Like you could taste the egg. The burger is one of the better burgers I've had in a while, and I haven't had them. She started listing all this sauce that she could bring out. And at one point I said, just bring out all your sauces. And I said it maybe kidding on the square, but they brought out all the trays and trays of various sauces.
So many
Firecracker
sauces.
sauce I was a big fan of.
Yeah.
Barbecue as well as buffalo sauce. I was just like, my experience there was really great. The only thing, well, I'll say two things. First of all, I wanted onion rings. When I see onion rings on the menu, I usually get onion rings, but I knew there was a whole culture around the bottomless fries, and I really got the fries for you, Luke. And they were good. I'm glad I got them, but I was scared. You're like, if I order off menu, you would have been like, that's not what you come here for.
No, I would have definitely left you behind. That's right. John and I would have driven the Willie down to the Airbnb, and you would have been on your own, dude.
No Andrew left behind.
That's right.
I'm going to restart my computer, see if we can take some phone calls. This is just going really great. But anyway, the other thing that I wanted to say, which I think is interesting that you're sort of skipping over, you often will sort of like after a little adventure that we have. Sorry, I didn't let John answer.
But yeah, John, what was your take?
Yeah, my takeaway was service was great. The sauces are great. I was a big fan of the honey mustard. And the burger was super solid. I got the bonsai burger, which I saw somebody in chat says is their favorite.
Nice.
That was definitely really good. And I
They
apologize.
even warned you that it was really messy. They said you want to cut it in half. Can we wrap it up for you?
The service was so good. I was reminded chat, and you guys kind of alluded to it. There are Red Robins. There's some in Minnesota and elsewhere in the country. So I apologize. It's not where I come from. But I like it. Yeah.
But what I was going to say is, Luke, you talk about these adventures, and they're often from your point of view, and they describe like kind of my behavior in a way that sometimes I kind of don't realize I'm putting something out there. But you really skipped over a big part of the restaurant experience, I think, which was the negotiation and you refusing to take no for an answer about which table.
Was that
I
too
gotta
much?
say, well, here's the deal: we come in, and the host sits us down at a table instead of a booth, and I am with you. I have the initial reaction like, I don't want to be in the middle of the room. Why would I want to be in the middle of the room? There are booths all around us, or maybe booths. I'm not sure. Booths or booths. They're all around us.
Yes.
And I want one of those too. And you say, hey, can we sit right over there? And you point to a booth that is
as close as I am to John Skleroff right now.
6 feet away, 5 feet away.
Closer,
for people that are watching this on YouTube, first of all, if you're trying to call in, sorry, we're having some technical times. But if you're watching this, you can see how close John and I are. I think it was actually closer.
Yeah.
Like we were sitting at a table, and I could have reached out and touched the booth. And I asked, could we? Well, I actually asked. I think I asked you, Andrew. I was like, would you prefer a booth? Because I definitely would rather have been in a booth for some reason. By the way, why is that? Why does it just seem better?
It's more. I mean, I felt exposed in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
Booths are nice. It's my friend once described. I think it was a bar or a restaurant, or maybe it was like a steakhouse that had the really tall red booths that go, really tall. And he said
that.
We walked in. He's like, these are booths you could plan a murder in.
Oh, okay.
And I was just like, oh wow, that is. But I know it. You know. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I throw a wrench in the booth talk? So I like a booth because it is a plush seat, which is nice, right?
Yes.
But I think this is, as now TBTL is now a 3-headed operation here.
Yes, indeed.
You guys are so used to operating as a 2-person team. A booth is optimal for 2 people.
You know what?
And
Were you a little uncomfortable?
No, well, see, at first I was like not opposed to it, but I'm a big guy, and I take up space, and I want to be aware of that. And when you guys are pushing the booth, I'm like, okay, who am I going to like squeeze? I didn't want to make either of you uncomfortable by squeezing on top of you in the booth. But instinctively, I guess, because you're both so sweet, you sat together next to each other, and it was actually really adorable.
Well, we do that even when you're not there.
Yeah, Luke likes to cut my food for me.
Yeah,
which is
I
good
preach
because
to
I'm
it
not great
sometimes.
with
It's
knives.
tough. No, but John, that is actually that is such an interesting thing that you just said, because you're absolutely right. We are now a 3-person operation. We are the 3 people that work for TBTL, and Andrew and I, particularly on these TBTL-a-Thon adventures, oftentimes if we're driving a van somewhere or hitchhiking or doing whatever we're doing, it's a 2-person operation. And I think we instinctively operate that way. But now it's like there's a 3rd person. And this is just one example, but that's going to be a new way or a new thing that we're going to have to all, like Andrew and I are going to have to consider and think about, is just the fact that this is a 3-person operation. Now, it's not a 2-person operation.
We had a meal in Portland, and we sat in a booth, and it was perfect, but it was like a horseshoe
rounded
booth.
Yeah, that was
we
at the Doug Fur.
Yeah.
Oh, I was
I
so
will say,
hungover for that meal.
I do appreciate you getting me my own bed at the Airbnb. That was nice of you to consider at least 3 beds. That was
I
nice.
believe that part we were in pretty good setup for that. But like, so I asked the server, I asked the host person, I said, could we just be in that booth? And she said, it's actually somebody else's section, which I couldn't wrap my mind around because it was so close to where we were sitting. I wasn't asking to move across the room. And so then I just said, okay. And then that host left. And then I think our server came.
Yes.
And I asked our server because this won't be a surprise to the listeners, but people know that I'm sort of pushy. And what I've learned is that, like, if the first person in that situation says no, probably the server is going to be like, yeah, well, you can kind of do whatever you want. They are trying to, make it so you have a nice time, and they probably don't want to get in an argument. And if the request is not unreasonable, which I didn't think it was, usually they'll kind of go, okay. So the server comes out, and then I go, could we move to that booth? And then,
Yeah,
what were you thinking at this
well,
point?
The host gave you a really definitive no.
Yes.
Because the host sat us down at a table. You point to a booth that is, we could almost touch it so close. And they say, no, that's a different section. And you're like, how could that be a different section? And you're like, are you sure? You kind of, you asked to follow up, like, are you sure? It's like right there. Can we get another server? And they're like, no, this is, sorry, that section is closed. And then they leave. And then you're like, that rule doesn't make sense. And this is a very Burbankian thing. Like, that rule doesn't make sense. Like, it is. It's like, you don't know what their process is or whatever. And you're just kind of like, well, that rule doesn't make sense for me. And I want my cheese sticks in the booth. And
I don't want them to be twists.
And you're like, when the server comes, I'm going to ask them if we can move. And I got to say, at that moment, somebody who maybe takes no too easily for an answer, but also it's a burger at Red Robin, whatever.
Well,
the server
I wanted
comes
your
out.
experience to be perfect because neither of you had ever been there.
Be right next to me for it. You gotta be right next to me.
And so the server comes out, and then you say to the server, hey, can we sit in that booth right there? And the server looks a little concerned, like, I gotta go, I don't know, let me go ask. And I'm like, shit. She's just gonna go ask the person that told us no twice. Like, and now it's gonna be, and then I gotta say, at that moment, I'm just like, oh God, I don't want to do this anymore.
Oh, I didn't realize that
the
this
other
is what
server
was
does
happening.
come back and says, yeah, it's fine. And then we get a different server who's working that section. And I don't know if we kind of like, we ended up getting really good service from that person. So maybe they were like, these guys are troublemakers. We better treat them right or we're going to get a bad Yelp review. And Red Robin is, we're going to have to change the cheese sticks again.
Yeah.
Oh, I like the way that the server that we ended up having kept blaming corporate. I don't know.
I loved that.
I
That
don't know.
was
Talk
very
to corporate.
smart.
It was funny. But anyway.
We can't say that anymore.
I guess
on this show because we don't have corporate.
Yeah, that's right. I know we have to blame everything on John now.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. But anyway, yeah. So it ended up. I do think I guess I got to say, I am glad you pushed through. I enjoyed the booth experience. John, you got to sit on one side by yourself, so hopefully you were comfortable. I didn't feel crowded with you, Luke. I'm glad we got the booth, but I will say there was a moment where I was kind of like, can we just take no this time?
Well, we need to work out a system next time when I'm pushing it to that point where it's becoming kind of like a little weird or just like, it's going to make the experience less enjoyable for one or both of you. We need some kind of a, I don't know, some kind of a safe word. That's
tippy toe.
Like you're doing this like okay, Luke. Maybe what you could say is maybe this is one of those times we should take no for an answer.
Yes,
that's the direct approach. Do you want to try to?
Yeah, here we do. I think I fixed
yes
it.
for an answer on the calls.
The same person who's been texting with me and trying to get on the line for the past half hour.
Oh my God,
is on the line and I think can hear us now. So let's see here.
Ahoy, ahoy.
God, this better be a good call. Welcome to TBTL.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Ivan from Amsterdam.
Ivan, what's up, dude?
Hey, how you guys doing? I got to say, I'm really enjoying the 8 p.m. live stream. I could get used to this. I hope it's like a weeknight syndication thing for me.
That was my first question. I was wondering what time it is.
We were once Japan's #1 morning show because of time differences, and now maybe we're Amsterdam's
prime time
#1 8 p.m. program. How's it going? You moved
well
over there.
on your way.
It's
been going well. How are you guys? Congratulations.
Thank you. I feel like our lives are really going in different directions. You are seeing the world in Amsterdam, and we are seeing my parents' basement with a bunch of lunch boxes.
But I am seeing no Red Robins around here, tragically.
Were you a Red Robin guy when you were in Seattle?
Oh yeah, big time. The problematically named Bonsai Burger was a favorite.
I was wondering.
Great point. Yesterday when I was hyping it to John, as I was saying it, I was thinking, I don't think that is the proper name for that anymore.
I would be shocked if they're still calling it that.
Oh, no, they are.
Absolutely, 100%. You got to be right there when you're reading that.
Can confirm because that's what John got, the Bonsai Burger.
Ivan, I have a question. What has been the kind of the thing you didn't expect about moving to Amsterdam? Like what's been something that developed that you weren't expecting?
I mean, this is kind of a boring answer, but it is
This
a
is
very
kind of a
big
boring show.
expat bubble over here, so you can kind of come here and sort of feel like you haven't really left home.
Oh, really? Are you trying to get out of that bubble by like engaging with Dutch culture?
Trying to, but the thing is, like, there's a lot of other internationals, not just Americans and Brits, but from pretty much all over Europe that are all kind of hanging around, sort of half-heartedly doing the same thing and just ending up kind of flocking to each other instead.
Are you trying to? Dutch is the language, right? I mean, am I making a fool of myself here? The language is also called Dutch. Do you speak Dutch?
Worse than I did 2 years ago when I first moved here.
You're actually regressing. That's hard to do.
Yeah. It's the only answer I can give to the passport inspection people when I come in and they see that I have a residence permit and they ask me if I speak Nederlands, and I'll throw out that wisecrack because that's like the only thing that I can say without sounding uncool.
Mm-hmm.
And did you move over there for work or just to have an adventure?
I mean, work got me here, but I think the idea was to kind of, expand the horizons because Rachel and I, we had been living together in Seattle for, as long as we knew each other and hadn't done much in the way of international travel. So this was an opportunity to not do it on somebody else's dime, but at least have somebody get us to the launching pad.
How are you feeling as being the partner of a famous author in Rachel?
I mean, super proud of her, but funnily enough, she has a new book coming out tomorrow. So she's feeling like she's feeling your shared anxiety of having like a big endeavor launching on the week of 4th of July.
Well, let's plug that, baby.
What's the name of the book?
It is Business or Pleasure.
What is the sort of topic? Is it a business book? Because we need one of those.
Mm-hmm.
We've recently realized that we've done no prep on that
I got
side.
the pleasure part down.
Yeah.
Well, I guess elevator pitch is it's a story about a writer who has made her way just ghostwriting for other people and never getting any kind of byline credit. And she ends up having a one-night stand with this guy who's like this former sort of like werewolf sci-fi show teen heartthrob actor who is now just doing like the Comic-Con circuit, and they end up having a one-night stand, and then the next day she gets an offer from his agent to ghostwrite a book about him, and goes to the meeting not knowing she's about to meet the guy that she hooked up with the previous night.
Is any of this based on your real relationship, the two of you?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
No, but I do have a real question. So I don't know if you heard this episode that Genevieve was on. No, but let me say I don't want to move on too quickly from that because Genevieve was on TBTL a few weeks ago and she was talking about this time that she was writing a book herself, and I don't think that she necessarily had publication plans, but was open to it, but was just trying to write kind of a pulpy, kind of fun, quick read, a mystery, an intrigue in the White House kind of book, and she was really into it for a while. And I got to say, it was the first couple of chapters were amazing, and then I think it started to spiral a little bit, honestly. But we talked about it because she wrote in a character that was like me, and actually named it Andrew Walsh, and the character was awful.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just he was like,
I heard this episode.
Yeah, and we've been kind of arguing about it for years now. I mean, I was just like, why didn't you just not write me in? Like, why did you have to write in a terrible character who was just getting in the way of everybody? But has Rachel ever written a character that you sort of see a little bit of yourself in? How do you feel about that? Because she must be taking inspiration from real life.
She has, and I think she's gone about it in somewhat of a clever way where instead of modeling any characters directly off of anybody she knows, or namely her and I, what she does is she'll take some attribute and sort of splinter it off. So, she's now written over half a dozen books, and there will be some very small minor characteristic of like either myself or her that will show up in one of the lead characters, but never like a carbon copy. So it's enough to make me go like, oh, hee, that's cute, but without getting uncomfortable that like, oh, yeah, I don't like that I'm on the page right now.
But like when a character is like super hunky, you're like, oh, that's me.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Now, where can people get this book? I assume the places people buy books, Amazon and the like. Like, where do people go find Business or Pleasure?
Yeah,
I mean the book, not
all the places.
events.
Yeah, I mean the big bookstores, the indies, the onlines. It's out there.
All right, so everybody go get Rachel's book, and this is just a freebie. I would imagine Rachel may hear this, Ivan, through the grapevine, but it's hard to come up with fictional characters' names. So if she's ever
Mm-hmm.
striking out, consider Todd Stout.
Yes.
From the Todd Stout coin, because that's a good name. It's a
Sample
solid
coin,
name.
yeah.
So, all right, Ivan,
Duly noted.
thank you for calling in and continued great luck out there in Amsterdam. Thanks for being such a awesome friend of the show for all these many, many years, man.
And many years to come. Happy Independence.
Thanks. Yeah, best
Thank
to
you.
Rachel.
Love that we got an international call.
I know. I'm loving it. And that is the person who had been struggling. I was texting with them. I didn't know it was Ivan until we picked up.
Well,
but,
because I don't want to blow up Ivan's spot, but I will say that Ivan's number
does not indicate
it's a Seattle
international-
number,
Yeah,
because that's where
exactly.
Ivan lived
Yeah.
for many years.
So
and
nobody call every single Seattle number trying to get to Ivan.
Yeah, but no, I'm glad that it was as simple as turn the computer off, turn the computer on, and now people can hear us because.
Well, you know what it was, really. And this is just for you, Luke. So if you're watching on the live stream, but you need a glass of water or something, now is a good time to go on that.
I'm all ears.
Do you remember when sometimes you and I would be dialed up and doing the show, and then
Yes.
suddenly you'd get a blast of static?
I do.
I think it has to do with this little
The
black
Motu.
box right here. And what I would used to have to do is unplug it and plug it back in. So I think I was giving people an earful of static when they were calling in.
You're telling me the Microbook 2C?
I downloaded a driver
You
for
sure
that
did.
thing.
You carried a watermelon for
I
this
did.
episode of the show. All right, listen, we're now almost an hour and a half into this, and what we should really do is start to kind of begin our initial descent to the end of this episode because we need to post it so that more people will hear it, not just the people watching us on YouTube right now, and then folks will donate. Any more trickles to speak of, John? How's it looking over there in the financial center?
A steady stream of donations.
Steady stream of donations.
How's that?
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
What? Sorry, what?
What in the hell?
What?
Can we please?
What?
No more saying cuss words, guys. It's inappropriate and violent.
Listen, if you're hearing this, it means you've gotten to the end of this episode and you already know what I'm about to say, which is we can only do this 5 days a week all year long because of the donations of the listeners. In fact, I don't want to name any names, but when we were at the Airbnb, we were talking about, Andrew, you and I, some folks that we know who were doing a podcast, and we were wondering if that podcast was still happening. And we checked the website, and we noticed that the podcast doesn't seem to really be creating episodes anymore. And it's because unless one is able to block out the time to make this their full-time job, it's impossible to continue doing particularly 5 podcasts a week. And many, some have tried, some have died. Like you can't do
Talk
this.
about the squirrels now.
Oh God, back to the squirrels. Like the only way that this can happen is if we're able to prioritize. If John's able to fly out from Minnesota yesterday, and I'm able to fly up from Portland, and Andrew, you're able to basically drive the Jeep through a wormhole, get us here. We spent all day yesterday setting it all up and all night back at the place, kind of putting the plan together for today. Like, this is a pretty time-consuming operation, and if you want to know how vital your donations are, the people that are not raising money for this, the people that aren't getting paid like it's their job, just don't usually do it for very long because it's not sustainable. So we are just so appreciative of everyone who's helped us out over the years. As we approach 4,000 episodes, we would not be here without the folks right now who are hearing our voices and those of you who are watching us on YouTube. So if you could please go to tbtl.net, and if your finances allow for it, maybe throw a little money into the kitty. It would really, really, really mean a lot to us, because all hyperbole aside, we're not going to be able to do this unless we raise the money we need to. So that was supposed to be the soft sell. We agreed yesterday.
No, it's well said, and it's also very, very true. One of the things we heard most from people at 8 p.m. as we were sort of wrapping up our time there was, we can't believe that you guys did everything that you did as such a small team. And that was when we had a network supporting us.
Yes.
And now we don't, and we're still a small team, and we have John here helping us out with the important stuff that you and I aren't as familiar with, but it is going to be an uphill battle.
Right.
We're in a holiday week, and if you can step up, and maybe you're somebody especially who's listened to the show for a long time but never felt motivated to give, I'm hoping that maybe we can hear from some new people.
That's right. Oh, by the way, Wednesday night, we're going to be doing TBTL 10 Teaks Roadshow. It's going to be our chance to Zoom with all of y'all and see the interesting family heirlooms or other important objects that you've collected over the years. I've got my eye on a few things in this basement that I
Yeah.
want to share with everyone.
A lunchbox.
So we'll be doing that. So you can sign up at tbtl.net. Basically, just go to tbtl.net, take a look around. There's about 9 buttons you can click on for various things that are happening. But the biggie is the one for donating to the show. So thank you very much. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, John.
Yeah.
Welcome to the team.
Hell
First
yeah.
episode down. I mean, we know we talked to you on Friday, but this is like the first
Officially.
real.
Yeah, this is Too Beautiful to Biz official.
That is exactly right. So nice having you here. Welcome to the team.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. We will see you tomorrow. In the meantime, have a great Monday. And please remember, no mountain too tall.
And good luck to all.
You know, you're overthinking it, buddy. Yeah. I mean, just kind of see this as a fun thing to do where you make a little bread.
Power out.